Hello everyone and welcome back. As we eagerly anticipate hearing more details about Crimson Days and what we can expect from the spring update, I thought it might be a great opportunity to continue my series of videos that pit two exotics against each other with similar themes to see which one comes out on top. In the last video, we compared the Twilight Garrison to the Empyrean Bellicose, two exotics that give you better control over your mobility as a Titan. I'll put a link to that video in the description box below. This time around, I thought we'd take a look at some of the best exotic pieces for the Bladedancer. The two I want to compare are the newly added ATS 8 Tarantella against the Mask of the Third Man from Year 1. Starting with the ATS 8 Tarantella, the exotic perk is the Tarantella. Take reduced arc damage from minions of the darkness, and arc grenades and arc blade recharge faster. As expected, the description is very relative and doesn't actually give us any hard numbers, so I thought I'd take us into the field and really test out these increased charge rates. For our purposes, I put on the SRL gear and the Petrovenge mask, just so I can make sure that we're on 0 tier for all of the stats. And that leaves us with the full minute of recharge time for the grenades. So let's take a look and see how fast it really recharges. So that's shaved off 8 seconds, leaving us with a 15% increase in charge time. While 15% isn't too bad, I definitely feel like it could have been a little bit better. But moving on to the arc blade reduction in charge time, we're going to go with a tier 2 cooldown of 4 minutes and 31 seconds to see how much the Tarantella can actually shave off. So that was 4 minutes and 18 seconds, giving us a 13-second reduction in charge time, which only equates to about 5%. Now this is the part I was most disappointed with. 5% is almost negligible. Now the thing that the Tarantella has going for it is that it has a few different perks. So let's take a look at the final perk, which is a reduction in arc damage. On the top you can see the damage reduction with the Tarantella versus without. Now this one I was a little confused about because you can't really see much of a difference at all, at least not against the Vandals. Now all that really tells us is that it's probably less than 10% change. And sure enough, the Boomer Knight confirms this. Without the Tarantella, I can take 7 hits from the Boomer Knight before hitting critical, and with the Tarantella, I can take 8. In short, the Tarantella is a pretty good exotic for the Bladedancer, but only because it's better than the sum of its parts. The 3 perks work together really well to give you a nice little boost for your Bladedancer. Now let's take a look at the Mask of the Third Man, which is largely unchanged from Year 1. The exotic perk of which is Unstable Current. Arc blade attacks use less super energy. Now this was my default choice for most of Year 1 whenever using Bladedancer, but let's take a closer look and see how much more damage we can do with Arc Blade. Here I'm using the super without any enemies, just to see how many more swipes I can get in. As you can see, without Mask of the Third Man, I got 15 hits in, and with the Mask of the Third Man, I had enough time to get another set of melees, taking it up to 18 hits. It might not seem like much time-wise, but it might be just enough to get that last kill. Now, while a few extra seconds can actually mean the difference between life and death, especially in the Crucible, I think I'm going to have to give the victory to the ATS 8 Tarantella. On the super department, it's really not going to make too much of a difference. You really have to make a choice of whether you want to receive your super faster or if you want it to be more effective when you get it. But the thing that sends the ATS 8 Tarantella above and beyond is the other features, like reduced arc damage and increased charge rate for your grenades. Now as it turns out, a lot of the Hunter exotics work really well for Bladedancer. So let's take a look at a few other pieces just to get a bit of context. Starting with one of the more situational choices, we have Don't Touch Me. The exotic perk of which is Defensive Reflex. Taking damage from a melee attack makes you briefly invisible. Again, a very situational choice, but can definitely help confuse your enemies. The great thing about this exotic is that the perk doesn't only work with Bladedancer, you can actually use it with any other subclass. Next up we've got Lucky Raspberry, which does have a Year 2 version in Bungie's Armory. The exotic perk is Improved Arc Bolt Grenade. Arc Bolt Grenade chains further, and you spawn with grenade energy. This is absolutely fantastic for the Crucible and allows you to dump all of your stats into Intellect and Strength. Next is one that I absolutely can't wait to get a Year 2 version of, and that is Khepri's Sting. The exotic perk is Touch of Venom. Gain invisibility after crouching in place for a short time. Melee attacking an enemy from behind while invisible delivers 4 times damage. The great news is that there's lots of exotics for the Bladedancer, one for every playstyle or situation. Let me know in the comments below which of the Bladedancer exotics is your favorite and any builds that you think maximize its efficiency.
Single victory doesn't win a war, but it's a start. Good work.
Drop a like if you can and subscribe for more Destiny content. And I will see you all next time.